TikTok has been banned in the United States. What does this mean for you and your business? Welcome to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. I'm Katie Brinkley, and you're listening to the premier podcast for business owners ready to elevate their influence and impact in the industry. Have you ever wondered how digital marketing can revolutionize your business? Well, with 2 decades of experience empowering business leaders, consultants, and coaches, I understand the transformative power of digital marketing. Today, we're not just discussing strategies, we're crafting your digital legacy. In each episode, we'll dissect the trends, strategies, and insights that are shaping the future of marketing. You'll walk away with actionable knowledge to thrust your business forward and stories of local enterprises making a global impact. Are you ready to turn insights into action? Let's jump into today's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing and start shaping your legacy. Well, on Wednesday, March 13th, things got a little crazy for those who are active over on TikTok. What does this mean for businesses and users who use TikTok every single day? Yes, folks, the day came on Wednesday, March 13th, when Congress said no more to TikTok. They actually said that they were banning it due to espionage concerns. And for a while, it has been against the law for lawmakers, congressmen, people that work in government to have access to the app, to have it on their phones. And this is, full transparency. I don't have TikTok on my phone because it was getting a little weird for the content that was showing up in my feed. It was stuff that I had just only had conversations about or had sent text messages about. And then I started seeing my daughter's babysitter and my housekeeper. I started seeing their TikToks show up in my feed. I was like, this is just getting a little bit too personal. So I actually took it off of my phone because of the privacy concerns. But for many people, and I have a number of clients who are on TikTok, they love TikTok. I also say short form video isn't my jam, but lots of people love short form video. Why is the US government stepping in here? It's actually interesting because on both sides, whether you're Republican or Libertarian or Democrat, whatever you are, it did pass through Congress with overwhelming numbers to ban TikTok at the highest level of government. The push for the ban is really a clear signal of the government's prioritization of digital security over the free market considerations here. Can the government really do this? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. And one of the key takeaways I want you to have from this Rocky Mountain Marketing Quickcast episode is that this ban is a clear push for how we are using social media. Social media is supposed to be free speech, right? Now the government's telling us which apps we can and we can't be on. I also want to talk about really the unprecedented nature of this potential ban in the landscape of social media. Is TikTok just the first one? Is Twitter or X going to be next? Or is Facebook going to be next? TikTok has over 170 million US users. And this is going to have a huge impact on a very broad span on the US population if it does end up being banned. The first step just happened on March 13th. What are the next steps for you and your business? Can this actually happen? And could you actually no longer have access to TikTok? As I said before, a lot of the reasons why this has been banned for people in government is because what I said earlier, the privacy issues. One, ByteDance, who owns TikTok, is a Chinese-owned company. Granted, they did everything they could the last time that TikTok was almost banned to ensure that the Chinese government was not heavily involved in the app. They brought on a US-based team. They tried to move a bunch of their offices over to the US, but it still has the potential for espionage activities. Like I said before, I was getting a whole bunch of TikToks in my feed, a whole bunch of videos, relating to information that I had only spoken about or that I'd only had text message conversations about. It was listening to things that I didn't necessarily give it permission to. It's one thing to go visit a website and accept the cookies off of the website. It's another thing to read text messages and then be like, oh, okay, you texted that you need new Jeep tires. Here's an ad for tires. So this is one of the biggest concerns was the espionage. Now, a lot of the opposition voices are worrying about the impact that this has on free speech and international business relations. Where right now, at the time of this podcast recording, the US and China are not at war. But I mean, if we say, okay, well, we're not even going to let you have your app here because we don't trust you, is that going to make tension levels rise? The ban really is going to reflect a critical stance against the potential misuse of American data by foreign powers. So Americans, again, are using this app, which is owned by the Chinese. They can read our text messages, listen to our conversations. What does that mean? It's really concerning because what does this mean between national security and maintaining that free speech, that open internet? Right now, I can go and Google whatever I want to Google and, well, within reason. There's a lot of things you can't Google that will get you arrested. But I mean, for the most part, you can go out and search whatever you want on the internet and you don't really need to worry about it. If the government's stepping in now and saying, well, you can't have that app, you can't look at that site, you can't do this, what does that do for our free speech and our open internet? Not just what we're doing on the internet. What does this have to do for us who are content entrepreneurs, content creators, business owners? Millions of content creators use TikTok to grow their business, to run their business, to make money for their business. What's going to happen to them if they lose their platform and thus lose their income that they've been generating from that platform? Businesses are going to need to rethink the way that they are posting short form video. Wave Wild, she's been on Rocky Mountain Marketing a number of times, and she's said this, I think, in every single episode that she's been on, is there's a different culture on TikTok than there is on Instagram, than there is on YouTube, than there is on Facebook. Short form video is not just copy and pastable across all the platforms. There's a different way of showing up, of talking, of creating the videos on TikTok than there is on Instagram. So you're going to need to rethink your digital marketing strategy without having TikTok involved. The ban really is going to have a huge economic impact on these individual creators who have been using it to grow their email list for the entire broader digital marketing ecosystem. For the past 3 years, essentially, Mark Zuckerberg has wanted to be TikTok. I mean, hello, look at Instagram Reels, YouTube, Google, who owns YouTube. They've even incorporated shorts into their ecosystem because of the wild popularity that TikTok and the short form video concept has created. It hasn't been 100% banned yet. It's just gone through the voting phase. If it actually gets to a point of them saying, okay, take it off your phone, it's not even available anymore, what are you going to do? How are you going to set up your business for success? And this is where you have to have that backup plan. TikTok supports a vast creator economy. There are a lot of people on TikTok every single day, a lot of people creating content on TikTok every single day. Its algorithm is unlike anything else we've ever seen. TikTok is its own beast, and that's why Mark Zuckerberg, Google, all of the big social media platforms out there were so afraid of this platform and trying to replicate it for their platforms because it's so different. How can you make sure that your business is set up for success? YouTube, folks, that was a game changer for me. And this podcast, actually, in 2023, I started posting daily YouTube shorts to YouTube. I went from, I think, about 70 subscribers to now I'm about 2,200 subscribers on YouTube in a year. Now, this is a pretty niche podcast. The majority of the listeners for this show are in Colorado and the Rocky Mountain region. Using YouTube Shorts has elevated my growth over on that platform substantially. I also strongly recommend looking at Facebook Reels. Notice I said Facebook, not Instagram. Facebook also has a Reels option, and this is a very great way to test out a different type of content with your audience on Facebook that's getting more reach than what we're seeing currently on Instagram. Instagram right now is trying to prioritize and give all of the different ways of creating content on the platform a little bit of love. So Reels, carousels, Facebook feed posts, those are all getting around the same amount of love from the Instagram algorithm. If you want to have a little bit more reach with your short form video, try checking out Facebook Reels. Remember, all of these platforms have different ways of creating content and creating the short form video. Look to see what's working on these other platforms and see how you can replicate that for your business so that's going to get the best bang for your buck from creating that short form video. One final thing here for today's quick cast. Can this ban actually happen? If you remember, this has all happened before. They tried to ban TikTok a while ago. Just because it passed Congress, it doesn't mean that it necessarily is going to become law just yet. Can this actually happen? And I think that one of the biggest concerns is the enforceability and the impact of free expression. If people want to sign a waiver saying that they are okay letting an app listen to their conversations and read their text messages and see all their browsing history, shouldn't they be allowed to have that app on their phone? There's a lot of legal challenges that could complicate the whole ban's possibility of coming to fruition. This all happened before Trump, when Trump was in office and the Trump administration was in office. They tried to ban TikTok then. It was blocked by the US courts at that time. So again, this has happened before with Congress trying to ban TikTok. It's a wait and see game. But I want you to keep in mind, this has happened before. It's happening again. If it doesn't get banned now, are we going to go through all of this again in a couple of years, the next time an election rolls around? So you have to keep in mind, what's your plan B? What is your backup plan in case TikTok does go away? This whole ban really underscores a larger issue with the intersection of technology, privacy, and politics. What is acceptable for us to have on our phones and for us to say that we're okay using? And what's okay for the government to step in and say, well, actually, we don't really want to share that much information with a foreign country. What happens with this TikTok ban, regardless if it sticks around or if it doesn't, if your biggest takeaway from this, we saw this a couple weeks ago with Meta, LinkedIn, and Reddit getting shut down intermittently, it's having that plan B. What is your backup plan? Because if you have all your eggs in TikTok's basket, if you have all your eggs in social media's basket, you could be putting your business at risk. You have to have that backup plan, whether it's a podcast, a YouTube channel, an email list, which is my favorite. You have to have that backup plan in case social media goes away without any notice and you've lost all your followers just like that. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. I hope you're leaving with valuable insights and the inspiration to lead your market. If you've enjoyed our time together and found today's podcast episode useful, I have a small favor to ask of you. Please hit that subscribe button to stay updated with the latest episodes. And if you know someone who could benefit from these episodes, maybe a fellow business leader or an aspiring entrepreneur, go ahead and share this episode with them. Let's spread the knowledge and grow together. Also, I'd love to hear from you and continue the conversation beyond the podcast. Visit me at katiebrinkley.com to connect, to find more resources, or just to share your journey. And be sure to pick up your copy of my new book, The Social Shift, at katiebrinkley.com/book. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Katie Brinkley, and I can't wait to dive into more strategies and stories with you on the next episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Let's keep on taking your marketing to new heights.